Welcome. Is it Nataya? I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Welcome, Nataya.
Thank you. Hi.
Mhm. So as we settle into the present moment, notice that feeling of arriving, whether it's arriving into a physical space or a virtual space, a container. Just taking a moment to notice how the body is responding. Maybe there's some curiosity or excitement or stress, anxiety, whatever might be there for you. I invite you to welcome whatever's here. And as we begin, I'd like to also share the welcome statement and land acknowledgement. And we'll uh, we'll practice meditation for about 30 minutes. And then we'll go into our setting our intention and our mindfulness trainings, the reflection on the 5 mindfulness trainings today. Welcome, Mark and Kanka. Welcome, Sina and Tony. You might see me pause for a bit as I'm also monitoring the Zoom people coming into the room. So please bear with me. At Pacific Northwest Meditation, we honor and welcome each of you, whether you are just beginning or have been walking the path for years. Your presence matters, and we're grateful you're here. I'm grateful you're here. We warmly welcome people of every age, ethnicity, cultural heritage, and religious background. We welcome people of all sexual orientations and gender identities, all socioeconomic groups, and all abilities. We also want to acknowledge the fullness and richness of your identity, including dimensions I may not have named out loud, and to honor the many intersecting ways we each experience the world. We gather to practice and study not just for our own awakening, but for the benefit of all beings and this living earth. We recognize the suffering caused by prejudice, power, privilege, and systems of oppression. Together, we aspire to do no harm. We commit ourselves to dismantling barriers that create separation and suffering, knowing that our liberation is inseparably tied to the liberation of all. So, taking a moment to really let that sink in. With mindfulness and loving kindness as our guides, we work to create a space where everyone feels respected, safe, and truly welcomed. We recognize that this is a dynamic, evolving process that requires continual listening, learning, and care, especially towards voices that have been historically marginalized. Our shared leadership embraces the responsibility to foster policies and practices that support true inclusion. And we know that it takes the heartful engagement of every Sangha member to help create and sustain a community that reflects the Dharma we aspire to embody, so that each and every one of you who are present here today make up the Sangha body. It doesn't exist as a separate entity, but it's through us and through our practice that we shape and co-create this beloved community that reflects the teachings we aspire to embody and practice and perfect. Let us take a moment now to pause in honor and in acknowledgement of the indigenous peoples of this region whose ancestral lands we now occupy. These include the Willamette, Clackamas, Multnomah, Tualatin, and the many tribes and bands now part of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. We recognize the Cowlitz, the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde, and Siletz, and the many native communities who have lived among the Willamette and Columbia rivers and throughout the Cascades since time immemorial. We remember that Portland is still home to many diverse native communities. We honor all Indigenous peoples, past, present, and future, and offer our deep gratitude for their continued presence, wisdom, and resilience. Land acknowledgements are just one small step towards disrupting the legacy of colonization, and they are the beginning of a much larger conversation and a call to right relationship, learning, and action. I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge all of what made today's Sangha possible. I'd like to acknowledge Sina and Tony and Rob and Darren and Steffi and also maybe and Steffi's husband and those who I did not name that brought this day forward and made it possible for us to be here. I miss the impermanence of sickness, aging, and death. So while I'm quite ill today, Kando is also traveling. She's in Hawaii at a memorial service for one of her dear teachers. So I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge the loss of a dear teacher, Steve Armstrong, who is a insight meditation teacher. Um, he he was the teacher that in the recent time, a number of you have known of me sharing the 10 spiritual practices of letting go. And he was the one who created that. Um, so just taking a moment to just honor the work and the legacy that he's left behind. And that amidst impermanence and change and aging, sickness, and death, that we could still stand and support each other and come together to practice and hear the Dharma and be in community with each other. So I'm very grateful for that and grateful for you all. And I'd like to share some community guidelines. We invite you to help us maintain a welcoming and respectful space for all by following a few simple guidelines. Out of care for those with sensitivities, we strive to be a scent-free space. For those with neurodiversities or anyone seeking quiet, there's a peaceful garden space through the door beside the elevator. Please leave the door propped open if you step outside, and if you need additional support, please feel welcome to speak up. And at any point in time, if you have a hard time hearing, please signal and let me know. We are committed to cultivating a space of inclusion and safety. So racist, homophobic, transphobic, and non-binary exclusionary, ableist, or otherwise harmful language is not accepted. As a Sangha, we gently call each other in when something difficult is said, supporting both protection and learning. We aim to listen and speak with mindfulness and open hearts. We invite you to introduce yourself using your name and pronouns when it comes time to sharing, if you choose. Pronouns can be an important part of someone's expression, and we want to respect and include all gender identities. And so, wherever you are now, I invite you to find a comfortable posture, a posture that supports stability, ease, simplicity, and knowing that at any point in time, you're welcome to shift and change posture. I might start uh, in the sitting posture, and maybe today I will actually lie down for a part of the practice. So, for those of you at home, you have that option also. You're also welcome to stand, sit on the floor, sit on a chair. So, really getting curious about what will support your body to feel at ease. And it's not required that we have to sit really still, but it is in practicing calming and relaxing the body that we settle into that stillness naturally without force. And when the body is still and at ease, the mind follows. So I invite you to get curious to what that might look like for you now with how your body is today and in this moment. What will offer ease? A lot of times, we sit this way for a number of years or months. And when we invite in that curiosity, we discover there's another way that could perhaps be more beneficial and supportive. Welcome, Sandra. And as we arrive into our meditative posture, I'd like to begin by calling in the three refuges. So if you would join me. And maybe you resonate with the Buddha as a historical figure, a teacher, a guide, as the awakened one, or the Buddha nature within you, or to this possibility of awakening. So taking refuge, I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Feel welcomed to repeat that to yourself silently. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Or to touch into that possibility of an awakened heart, of an awakened mind. Next, I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. And the Dharma here are the teachings that lead to understanding, that lead to freedom from suffering. The Buddhist teachings, the teaching on impermanence, non-self, and suffering. The Noble Eightfold Path, the Four Noble Truths, the teachings that are universally verifiable. So you might repeat this to yourself if you'd like. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. And the third jewel, I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. The community that comes together to practice the Dharma, that keeps the Dharma alive, a community that practices nonviolence, practicing wisdom and compassion, practicing ethical conduct and right speech, practicing peace and right action. The community of our spiritual friends who are also on this path with us, reflecting back to us the Dharma, reflecting back to us what we at times forget, what we don't see. Supporting our energy of mindfulness and our own practice contributing to the collective energy of mindfulness. So you might repeat this silently to yourself if you wish. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that practices harmony and awareness. As we transition into our meditation practice, you might choose to anchor your attention to the breath, observing the in breath and the out breath, observing the quality of the breath, maybe letting your attention rest where you feel the breath is most alive in the body. And if the breath is not available or accessible for you today, you might choose to anchor your attention into the contact points in the body, noticing where the hands are resting, where the body's pressing against the chair, the cushion, or the floor. Maybe noticing the temperature of the body or sensations in the body. Or maybe anchoring your attention to sound. Knowing that at any point in time, you are welcome to shift posture, but move gently, slowly, and seeing if a small, slight shift could make a difference. Continue to notice where you might be holding tension in the body. Invite in that softness, that warmth, that love and kindness that meets whatever's here. Softening the shoulders, the neck, the back, relaxing the belly, relaxing the jaw, softening all the muscles in the face, turning your attention inward to be with yourself, be with the world inside of you. But when the mind wanders off, notice the energy and the feeling tone of that in the body. Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Or neutral? Bring your attention back to your anchor or to rest back in the body. resting, resting deeply. I return my life to the one who listens deeply to the sounds of the world. Resting, resting deeply. I return my life to the one who listens deeply to the sounds of the world. Take a moment to stretch your legs, to transition out of your meditative posture in a way that feels supportive, nourishing, and is an expression of love and kindness to your body. Brandy is going to lead us in a mindful movement practice. Brandy, are you in the room? Brandy will need a handheld mic or one of the teachers.
Hi, Trina. Hello, everyone. I wasn't sure we were on. I I emailed a couple of songs, Trina, to the main email here. I'm not sure if you got those or not.
All right, let me check. Brandy, for some reason, the image on the iPad is not coming through, so we can't see you.
While we're looking for that, I'll pass out a handout.
Okay.
The the purpose of this little short time is just to connect with our bodies, and that handout on the handout it correlates what emotion goes with what part of the body. And the purpose of the song and the music is just to uh, physically move a little bit and connect with where you might have discomfort or something that's feeling good and just bring attention to that part of the body. That's all. Pretty simple.
I have the recording here.
And can we take a moment and stand and scoot our chairs to the side? If that's okay.
We can't see you from Zoom here. Can you
Okay.
turn the camera, Brandy, to yourself so the people
Yeah.
can also see?
Hello. If everybody could take a quick moment and look at the handout and just take a minute or two. Do you have one? Oh, okay. And if there's any part of your body that either needs attention or a little celebration, feel free to connect with that. We first have a very mellow song just to get connected with our body, and then we have a fun one, and then another one to wrap up. It's about, I don't know, 6 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Is that okay?
That's okay.
And I would encourage you to allow your feet to move. Don't feel like you have to get stuck in one position. If anybody wants to take off their shoes, that's okay too. And if you want to move around, it might feel awkward at first, but after you get moving a little bit and just get connected, you keep your eyes closed or not, either or. Let me know when you're ready to cue it up, Trina.
Yes. Which song would you like? I see there's two links.
Yeah, let's just start with
Is
the
the
first.
Aya one?
Yeah, let's just start with the first one, and then it should cue up automatically to the second one.
Okay, so it's just is it Aya link
It was a Spotify, or I think I did YouTube.
in YouTube?
Yeah, it starts with an
Let me
AYRA,
go
or
ahead
something like that.
and
Thanks
yes.
for
Let me go ahead and give it up here. So welcome. Do you need the image or just sound?
the sound.
Just sound.
And every
Okay.
you can soften your gaze, you can close your eyes, you keep your eyes open. It might feel a little awkward at first because there's no way to do this. It's just connect with your body and move around. Just make sure you move your feet around so we don't get stuck in one spot.
Computer sound. Share sound. All right. It's queuing up.
Feel free to. Ooh, yeah, that's the right one.
Mm-mm.
And then we got an upbeat one after that.
Cutting.
We're going to walk around, arms. Look how kids move when they're little. They don't always move the beat. Stretch. Take up space. Trina, we lost it.
Looks like it's there's a lag here.
Did we lose you? Feel free to keep moving around. A little stretch,
Me, but
wiggle, shake it out.
there's some looks like it's not playing.
There we go. And feel free to take up space.
when your kid is hurting and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Was there another song, Brandy? I can't hear you. I don't hear you. Not, yeah, we're not able to hear you, Brandy. The audio cut out. Is it the mic? Does the battery need to be changed?
How's that?
There it is.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Do we have a second song attached on there?
I don't see it in the text that you send out. 9 hours.
There was a second text, maybe. It's
okay, let me double check.
it's titled My Body.
It's also on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
So feel free to move around, allow your feet to change position.
It's the same one. I received both of the same one. I could search it open on there.
Okay.
Is it my
If
bot?
we can't find the second one, we could just keep it with the first one and do another one next time. That's okay.
Okay, whatever you prefer. I could search it up or I could replay that song.
Okay, let's see. Are you guys up for another one? Just checking, a little more upbeat. Okay, if you go to YouTube,
Yeah.
and put in My Body, I can't remember the name. I think it might be worth doing. Might be. I have it on my phone. I can check really quick. Trying to think of the artist.
You can text it to me.
Okay, do that.
Right.
Yeah, but everybody just walk around a little bit. You can shake things off, get your arms in the air, go to a different space. And things don't have to be on the beat either. Let's see here. I'm almost there. If we can't find it, I know we need a bathroom break too. So give me one quick second. Oh, there we go. It's called Earth, My Body by Maggie Clifford. It's 2 minutes. Are you guys up for this or need a potty break?
I'm queuing it up.
Okay.
Let me know. Give me a thumbs up when it plays on your end. Okay.
We might have a couple people take a potty break, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Right.
You look like this at 55? Thanks. You know,
Thank you.
Let's see. Ads here. There we go.
The picture of a girl.
My body,
there we go.
Water my blood.
I told you this is a little bit more upbeat, so feel free to move offbeat, onbeat, walk around. We turned up a little bit.
Air, my breath and fire, my spirit, earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit, earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Oh, my baby, you are the one. Hold you close, watch you grow under the sun. Oh, my sweetness, ancient love is new. In your eyes, in your smile, everything you do. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Oh, my baby, you are the one. Hold you close, watch you grow under the sun. Oh, my sweet.
If you have anything you feel like you need to release, it's
in
stuck,
your eyes, in your
something
smile,
emotion stuck in there, tightness,
my
shake it off,
body, water, my blood, air,
breathe
my
with it.
breath, and fire, my spirit, earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit, earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit.
Okay, that's the end of the music. I'd like everybody to maybe thought that you were move around a little bit, take up some space, and we have a short time and then we'll have a potty break. So in our neck, we can carry stubbornness or flexibility, our shoulders, joy and burden, our spine, emotional support, feeling loved or unloved or holding back. The middle of the body can be stuck in the past. The lower can be fear. Elbows, changing direction and accepting new experiences. Wrists, movement and case. Hips, fear going forward or confidence in making decisions. Knees, stubborn pride and ego or humility and being humble. Ankles, flexibility or inflexibility, having guilt and letting go of guilt, and receiving pleasure. Those are the basics. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you, Trina.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. So uh, we will come back in about a few minutes here. 5:45. So come back at 5:45 for those of you who need a little quick break, drink of water to bring the chairs back. Actually, I was wondering if the chairs in the room can be in a circle. Can you put the chairs in the room into a circle so everyone can see each other? Because we'll have an opportunity for sharing and for reflecting together. So for those of you on Zoom, we'll return at 5:45 for the mindfulness training. Making sure everyone can see each other. Nice circle. All right, welcome back, everyone. Again, here as everyone is arriving. Looks like there's people still not quite arriving back into the room yet. So I have put in the chat for those of you on Zoom the handout of the 5 mindfulness training. I invite you to download that and you can maybe edit the PDF version of it, or you can have a notebook and paper and pen ready to write. So first off, I'd like to say that this path that we are on, what is the path? So the path here is the noble eightfold path, the path leading to freedom, to liberation. And it consists of uh, the 8 practices, 8 qualities, and the way these 8 uh, can be remembered and looked at is divided into 3 pillars on the path. So the first is when we think of the cultivating the state of deep concentration, samadhi, wisdom. There is right mindfulness, right effort, and right concentration. And there's the part of our practice that is to have the wise view, wise intention. And then the other part of this path is looking at ethical conduct, which is of right speech, right livelihood, right action. And so today I want to really take time for us to look at how the practice of mindfulness in itself can be a training to see how we navigate um, our actions, our words, and our thoughts to be in alignment and to be in accordance with this path, with the Dharma. So I'd like to begin by first sharing how the 5 mindfulness trainings were developed. So the original precepts, the 5 precepts, as some of you or many of you may already know, are to not kill, to um, to not steal, to not engage in sexual misconduct, to not lie or have false speech, and to not consume alcohol. And in 2009, Thich Nhat Hanh reformed the 5 precepts and really took it to another level, looking deeply at these 5 precepts and seeing that it need to be spelled out more clearly for our times, for practitioners today to really see the depths of this training and to see it as a training rather than rules and that we have to stick to. But through the practice of mindfulness, we can train ourselves and to see where we might have had a misstep and where we can continue to course correct, where our intention lies when we choose to, let's say, consume something or to speak certain things. We're always turning inward to see what was my intention. And when Thich Khan first, the Zen master Thich Khan first came out with these the 5 mindfulness training, it was to him a way to respond to the um, all that was going on in the world. He felt that the precepts alone just didn't um, uh, wasn't enough for practitioners to see deeply into how to practice. So while the 5 mindfulness trainings themselves have their root in the 5 precepts offered by the Buddha, Thich Khan has expanded and updated this so that they represent a way to bring mindfulness into every area of life. And so rather than this being hard and fast rules, these trainings offer us a path to cultivate and develop actions of body, speech, and mind that can protect and create a more healthy and compassionate world. And I remember in 2011 when this time around, I was on a quest to review the precepts for myself in a way that for me was I knew was the foundational practice for meditation. I had spent time at the time I hadn't found the 5 mindfulness trainings yet, and I had spent some time looking deeply at the precepts that I grew up with. And I remember uh, when reading about not consuming intoxicants that dull the mind, I saw that for me it went beyond alcohol. It was anything that dulled the mind, anything, anything that dulled the mind and prevented this possibility of having a clear mind, a lucid mind during meditation. And so before we go into the 5 mindfulness training, I think it's important for us to know what is our intention to practice. Well, why do we come to this practice and this path before us? How does it look like for us? What is the goal? Where are we heading towards? Do we know the lay of the land? Do we have a sense of this map? And what is your reason to practice? Is it to liberate yourself from the struggle, the stress of everyday life, to find ease and relief? Or is it to find some sense of stability amidst seeing all of the struggle and the suffering of the world around you? Or maybe it is to practice opening your heart. So taking a moment, I invite you to take a moment to get present to What is your intention in coming to this practice? And what is the path before you? What had you come on to this path? What was that catalyst? And so maybe on the back of the handout, there's maybe a blank page on the back of your handout, or for those of you at home, I invite you to take a moment to write down your intention. When we're clear on what the intention of our practice is, and this path is, that becomes the framework for the choices that we make, the decisions that we take, where we will lean in and where we will step back, where we will engage and show up, and where we will back down and not take the bait. And it will fuel the fire of our practice and of just our journey of inner work, our journey of growth, of deepening, of finding meaning and purpose, of what really matters to us is built inside of this framework. It's included and incorporated. And these 5 mindfulness trainings will help us to be in accordance with the natural law. The trainings itself are a set of guidelines that protect us. So there are times when we are not sure how to navigate something, we can turn to the 5 mindfulness trainings for answers. So I'll read the introduction to the 5 mindfulness trainings, and then I will call on 5 of you to read the trainings. So I'll call on Steffi and Peggy and Rob, Sandra, and Kang. Yes. A number of you who are also in the Plum Village tradition as well. Yes. So the introduction to the 5 mindfulness trainings from Thich Nhat Hanh are one of the most concrete ways to practice mindfulness. They are non-sectarian, and their nature is universal. They are true practices of compassion and understanding. And all spiritual traditions have their equivalent to the 5 mindfulness trainings. The first training is to protect life, to decrease violence in oneself, in the family, and in society. The second training is to practice social justice, generosity, not stealing, and not exploiting other living beings. The third is the practice of responsible sexual behavior in order to protect individuals, couples, families, and children. The fourth is the practice of deep listening and loving speech to restore communication and reconcile. The fifth is about mindful consumption to help us not bring toxins and poisons into our body or mind. The 5 mindfulness trainings are based on the precepts developed during the time of the Buddha to be the foundation of practice for the entire lay practice community. So Thich Nhat Hanh has translated these precepts from modern times because mindfulness is at the foundation of each one of them. With mindfulness, we are aware of what is going on in our bodies, our feelings, our minds, and the world, and we avoid doing harm to ourselves and others. Mindfulness protects us, our families, and our society. When we are mindful, we can see that by refraining from doing one thing, we can prevent another thing from happening. We arrive at our own unique insight. It is not something imposed on us by an outside authority. So practicing the mindfulness trainings, therefore, helps us to be more calm and concentrated and brings insight and enlightenment. So we'll begin with the first training, and I'd like to see who would, amongst the 5 people that I called, who'd like to read that first mindfulness training. You can put it on the share my screen too, so you can see it. Actually, you have a copy of it, so maybe not. Steffi, is that you? Okay. Thank you, Steph. And when you read the trainings, I invite you all to take your time, read it slowly, take it in. And after each training, we'll pause for a moment and we'll give everyone time to reflect and look deeply within ourselves. What are some questions we might have? What are some curiosity? What resonates with us? You might underline something that really stands out for you this time. Maybe there's an area that you want to work on, you want to train in. So we'll begin the first mindfulness training.
Reverence for life. Aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life. I am committed to cultivating the insight of interbeing and compassion and learning ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I am not determined to kill, not to let others kill, and not to support any act of killing in the world, in my thinking, or in my way of life. Seeing that harmful actions arise from anger, fear, greed, and intolerance, which in turn come from dualistic and discriminative thinking. I will cultivate openness, non-discrimination, and non-attachment to views in order to transform violence, fanaticism, and dogmatism in myself and in the world.
Thank you, Steffi. So we'll take a moment now to reflect for ourselves what stands out. Maybe a few things you want to write down or underline or highlight. And now we'll move on to the second mindfulness training, true happiness. Would like to take that, Peggy? Okay, please, Peggy.
So Trina, the copy I have, I think is the most current, but if I make a mistake, let me know or correct me afterward. Is that
All
okay?
right.
I think
Yes.
it's the same as I have.
Do you have the one that I put in the chat too? I think it should be the same one though. Yeah.
I think it's the same one, yeah.
Okay.
It's the most recent.
Perfect. Yeah.
True happiness. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I am committed to practicing generosity in my thinking, speaking, and acting. I am determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. And I will share my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in need. I will practice looking deeply to see that the happiness and suffering of others are not separate from my own happiness and suffering. That true happiness is not possible without understanding and compassion, and that running after wealth, fame, power, and sensual pleasures can bring much suffering and despair. I am aware that happiness depends on my mental attitude and not on external conditions, and that I can live happily in the present moment simply by remembering that I already have more than enough conditions to be happy. I am committed to practicing right livelihood so that I can help reduce the suffering of living beings on Earth and stop contributing to climate change.
Thank you, Peggy. Let us take a moment now to reflect and highlight, underline what stands out for you. Maybe it's a phrase or a few sentences, what really resonates with your heart, and what is the training that you want to take on inside of this? What's missing and what's possible? And now we'll go on to the next mindfulness training. True love. Okay, who would like to read this part?
Want to? I can.
Sandra, yes, Sandra.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
True love. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I am committed to cultivating responsibility and learning ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. Knowing that sexual desire is not love, and that sexual activity motivated by craving always harms myself as well as others, I am determined not to engage in sexual relations without mutual consent, true love, and a deep, long-term commitment. I resolve to find spiritual support for the integrity of my relationship from family members, friends, and Sangha with whom there is support and trust. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. Seeing that body and mind are interrelated, I am committed to learn appropriate ways to take care of my sexual energy and to cultivate the 4 basic elements of true love: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and inclusiveness for the greater happiness of myself and others. Recognizing the diversity of human experience, I am committed not to discriminate against any form of gender identity or sexual orientation. Practicing true love, we know that we will continue beautifully into the future.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. So take a moment to reflect on this training on true love. And now, the next mindfulness training, loving speech and deep listening. Kanka, yes. And then Rav will do the last one.
Loving speech and deep listening. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others.
Can you all hear Kanka? Pause for a moment. Can everyone hear Kanka okay?
No.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing you too. Can you come a little closer to the mic, Kanka? Would that be possible? Or maybe? Yeah. And check your volume.
Loving speech and deep listening. Is that better?
Yes.
Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others. I am committed to cultivating loving speech and compassionate listening in order to relieve suffering and to promote reconciliation and peace in myself and among other people, ethnic and religious groups, and nations. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am committed to speaking truthfully, using words that inspire confidence, joy, and hope. When anger is manifesting in me, I am determined not to speak. I will practice mindful breathing and walking in order to recognize and to look deeply into my anger. I know that the roots of anger can be found in my wrong perceptions and lack of understanding of the suffering in myself and in the other person. I will speak and listen in a way that can help myself and the other person to transform suffering and see the way out of difficult situations. I am determined not to spread news that I do not know to be certain, and not to utter words that can cause division or discord. I will practice right diligence to nourish my capacity for understanding, love, joy, and inclusiveness, and gradually transform anger, violence, and fear that lie deep in my consciousness.
Thank you, Kanka. We take a moment to reflect on this training on loving speech and deep listening, underlining or highlighting what stands out for you, what resonates with you. You can reflect that in your writing, space below. You still see some people writing, so give it another minute. Now we'll go on to our last mindfulness training, nourishment and healing.
Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I am committed to cultivating good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming. I will practice looking deeply into how I consume the 4 kinds of nutriments, namely edible foods, sense impressions, volition, and consciousness. I am determined not to gamble or to use alcohol, drugs, or any other products which contain toxins, as well as certain websites, electronic games, TV programs, films, magazines, books, and conversations. I will practice coming back to the present moment to be in touch with the refreshing, healing and nourishing elements in me and around me, not letting regrets and sorrow drag me back into the past, nor letting anxieties, fear, or craving pull me out of the present moment. I am determined not to try to cover up loneliness, anxiety, or other suffering by losing myself in consumption. I will contemplate interbeing and consume in a way that preserves peace, joy, and well-being in my body and consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family, my society, and the earth.
Thank you, Ra. Taking a moment to let these words land however they do for you. And perhaps as we reflect on the 5 mindfulness trainings, we can choose to take on some aspects of the training that we are ready for. Or maybe it's some, if not all 5 of the training. What inspires us? Where do we feel we can go a little bit further, stretch ourselves, or to just simply be aware of how it has been? And perhaps these trainings bring that up for us, naming it and offering us another possibility, a way to support us on this path. So I'd like to open up the floor now to your sharing. We will have time for probably 2 or 3 shares. So I'd like to see if there's anyone who'd like to share on any of these trainings, what stands out for you, what resonates with you. What moves you, and one of the things that is the way we know if it's time for us to share is if our heart starts beating faster. That's the right time to share.
I'd like to maybe say something quick. Okay.
We don't see you, Rock.
Oh.
Get in the frame, just so everyone on Zoom can see too. There we go.
Okay. Here I am. Finally, I figured it out. I wrote the most in one section, and I think that maybe is something that struck a chord. But for loving speech and deep listening, communication and reconciliation, sitting with fear and knowing where and how does it manifest, I think is something I need to do in terms of understanding myself. And the reason why I say that is that I think it prevents, sometimes it prevents my open and honest communication. And so my resolve is to bring open and honest communication when it might be easier to shut down. But that's probably just the time when it needs to be addressed and said. And also, I wrote down listening, active listening.
Thank you so much for sharing that. What else you'd like to share? What's coming up for you? What struck a chord for you? Peggy.
Under true happiness, every time I read the line, I can live happily in the present moment simply by remembering that I already have more than enough conditions to be happy. I remember the first time I read that, I thought, really? But it's such a good reminder. And also for me, just which kind of comes up in all of these is the present moment. My intention is to live more in the present moment and not to waste this precious life. Especially now, I'm getting older by the day, which I'm grateful for, but also the urgency of, I don't want to waste this precious life. And if I just accept that I can live happily in the present moment, because I already have more than enough conditions to be happy, I think if I just remind myself of that every day, it's just a good reminder. And it really covers, I think, all of the trainings. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. What else would like to share? Okay. Francis, they, them. I wrote the most under nourishment and healing. I feel like a lot of these, I wrote a lot under a lot of them, but for me, this is specific because I used to smoke a lot of weed, not working on that anymore. And that was like a very conscious choice that I had to come to and I've watched that play out of that, meaning that I am very present for my suffering and for the suffering of other people, means lots of sitting and processing things that I was able to kind of haze or redirect, and learning to sit discomfort, I think is
is really important to me. So I saw that as something that I might have been avoiding. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this thing. And I was right. And it's like, okay, I am going to be sitting with discomfort and I am going to be learning how to do it. And so that's something that definitely seeing play out of I am getting a lot better at that, and also sitting with the discomfort of others and being available to sit with other people in their suffering and discomfort, instead of not being there 100% of the time, and that being something that I need to like clock in for. I'm ready to be there for myself and others as things come up. So I'm seeing where that is a beneficial and worthwhile pursuit.
The words of the Dharma in your share, the thought process right now, your reflection, whether they're spoken or not spoken. This process of
We missed what you said in response. Sorry. I don't know why.
can you hear me now? Well, is that better?
We can't hear anything.
Interesting. Okay, let's see what's going on. Let's switch. How's that now? All right.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to Francis. In all of your shares, your spoken reflection, and we could hear the Dharma in what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. And the Dharma is verifiable through our own practice when we take time to stop and look deeply. And we use the framework of our body and mind and emotions and our suffering and impermanence itself to see this clearly, that it can be felt and directly experienced within us. So these 5 trainings are guidelines, but they are a support for us. And we practice to liberate ourselves and so today I invite you to consider which practice you'd like to take on, or all 5 of them. And in the Plum Village tradition, I just came back from a retreat at Magnolia Grove Monastery. And on the very last, the morning of, or the last day of the retreat, we had, I think it was around just under 40 people who were part of this 5 mindfulness training ceremony. And they took refuge in the 3 jewels. And in the 5 mindfulness training, some of them took on all 5. Some folks took on 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of the 5 mindfulness trainings. And they made a vow to themselves and before the Sangha that they will train in mindfulness of these 5 practices. And so if you feel called to this is something you can recite very often, at least once a month. You can frame it, put it by your meditation corner. This foundational practice is important, and it really does make a difference in having us see results when we practice. There are folks who practice mindfulness from a very secular lens. They may experience some results of this path, but the deepening happens with this foundational practice of sila, which is ethical conduct, which is here translated to the 5 mindfulness trainings. Sila, samadhi, and prajna are the 3 pillars of the path. So sila, the 5 mindfulness training, samadhi, which is concentration, and prajna, which is wisdom, are part of this path, are what unfolds into the Noble Eightfold Path. So thank you all for your sharing and for contributing to the Dharma talk today. And I know for you, those of you in the room, there's maybe a potluck or a social hour that you will have. I also want to remind you, if you feel if this space has supported you and offer you a refuge for your practice, for a spiritual, a deepening, learning, and growth, consider making a donation. You can donate in many ways. You can donate with resources, with time, with your energy, and last but not least, with your practice and your presence. So I'll put the link in the chat here for those of you who want to donate online or electronically. And for those of you in the Zoom, you can do this through the app or cash. See if I can find it. Actually, I'll put it in the chat here. PNW meditation.org/Dharma. And we will close with a short song as Peggy inspired this happiness is here and now. See if I can find the lyrics to this. So knowing that each one of these trainings go back to practicing being in the present moment. And so when we recognize that all of what we're looking for out there is actually can be found in the present moment. I think this is a really beautiful song that has us come in touch with that. So this is a gatha from the Plumberly tradition. For those of you in the room, there's a handout if you're able to get it. If not, that's okay too. It's a practice song sheet. All right, I'm queuing this up. And pasting this in the chat. So we'll end with the song. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to join in as we sing this together. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. No longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do, but I don't need to hurry. do this one more time for those of you in the room who maybe just got the song sheet. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. No longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do. But I don't need to hurry. Now I invite you all to unmute yourself and sing this with me. For those of you in the room, maybe passing the mic around. Bring in your voices. Happiness is
here and now.
I
Have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing
to do.
no
no longer in a hurry.
happiness
Happiness
is
is
here
here
and
now.
I
I
have
have dropped my worries.
somewhere
To
to
go,
go, something
something to do, but I don't need
to
to
hurry.
hurry.
That was beautiful. Thank you for joining me in that.
Hey, that's not bad.
And we'll add 3 sounds of the bell. Please join me in 3 mindful breaths. Thank you, everyone, for your practice today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trina. Hope you feel better soon.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you. Feel free to unmute yourself, everyone, if you'd like to bring in your voice to say goodbye. For those of you in the room.
Bye.
Hey, Trina.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you so
Feel
much.
better, Trina.
Oh, there's Katie.
Hi, thank you, Trina. Good to see you.
So much.
Thank you, everyone. Get well, Trina.
Yeah.
Wishing you well.
Ditto.
Adios.
Adios.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We appreciate your presence tonight despite not feeling well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandy.
Hydrate, and sleep.
I shall.
Sleep's your friend.
Ginger and honey tea on
Yeah,
the tongue.
I am on it. Be well, everyone. Love to you all.